Sorry. That was
I'm trying to merge it more. I'm trying to make it not so awkward in the beginning.
Yeah, the countdown was less on YouTube than it was on the screen, so I didn't know what to do. Welcome to Monday Night Live Chat. I know last time I said that TJ from Squeegee Life was going to be on here. I messed up and didn't let him know quick enough, so hopefully he will be on soon. Also, thank you to our sponsors, Window Cleaning Resource, the best window cleaning supplier on the planet, and Jobber, a great CRM to organize your business and all that good stuff. But it's just Jersey and I tonight, and back to just what we used to do. If you got any questions, put them in the chat. We're here to help and here to answer with all of our window cleaning wisdom. And if you have any things you want to say and give advice for, say it in the chat. See what people have to say. Blah, blah, blah.
Make sure to say hello if you're here. Just check in and say hello, because I see a couple people like Window Guys said, "What's up?" Jeremy Pummel is actually here. He actually made it.
Not been here for a while.
I know.
What's
he always like
man?
pops in at like 2 minutes before the end, and he's like, "Hey, what did I miss?" And he's gone.
No, that's all right. So he's a
KD's here. KD's here. 1 Point's here. Twins Window Cleaning Service is here. If you're here, say what's up and tell us if you wear sleeves or if you're an absurdity in the industry.
Yeah. You know, have you ever had someone though, like on your crew, want to go out sleeveless, or was that something you allowed? I was not allowed to do this ever, and then I decided not to do it just because I have too many tattoos.
Yeah. No. I had one guy ask like before we started, and I said no. I really don't want to look at your nipple, like in your armpit hair. Like I'm cool with that. He's like, "It was so hot," and then when he started using regular shirts, he's like, "Oh yeah, it's fine."
Yeah, exactly. I did it one time and Jim yelled at me, so that was the last time. Right. And also not going to the gym anymore doesn't look quite as good. You know?
Well, we're all getting older. You know what sucks about doing media is like you can look at your old stuff and be like, "Oh gosh, I was so young. How am I getting gray hair now? Look at this. Look at it."
Dude, I can't even film a video like out wide, or else my love handles just shake in the background. Like, because the way I wear my pants and my belt, it just goes right underneath my love handles.
It's the way you wear your pants. It's not that you have them.
My dad.
Your pants.
My dad's skinny, but my dad still has them. And so I'm a little bigger. So I got them. And, you know, I don't need to get, I already got married. I had 2 kids. I have no reason to really stay physically great. So, you know, it's my favorite thing to go to A&W sometimes and just get a couple of double burgers. It's bad, dude. It's so bad.
You know, it's still one of the funniest things you've ever said to me was when I sent you the videos of the clips when we were on that roof. And you're like, you can see my belly button so much. And I'm like, what?
It's so big. It's like this big in the shirt.
So great. That made my day. I did then go in and I felt bad and took out all of the belly button videos.
Thank you so much.
I made a montage and tell you in case you ever, decide to,
We were on top of a roof, 13 stories up. The wind's going, so the second you put your shirt that way, it just shows the world. So
I've never been like an impeccably attractive man though, so I'm okay with it. You know, I was never like into jujitsu really heavy, where I was like super ripped, and everybody always talked about how hot I was, and then had belly button issues. I just have always been like that. So.
It happens, it happens, whatever. I always get that. Well, like back in the day when I used to work out, a bunch of people would try to comment on my YouTube channel like, "Hey, what's your workout plan?" That has not happened in about 4 to 5 years that someone's commented that.
That's great. No one asks anymore.
I'm on the great decline.
They're like, "Hey, SteveO, where was that one place you were talking about? A&W? They still got good." You're like,
all they talk about now is, "Hey, why do you breathe so hard when you're working? Hey, why are your hands shaking while you're squeezing a window?"
How many stairs were on that walk? None. Leave me alone.
That's the craziest thing ever. So now in videos, though, if you ever see it, if you ever notice, I will almost edit out every single like I'll just edit it out because I'm so sick of it on YouTube being like, "Why do you breathe so hard? Do you smoke like 12 packs a day?" No, I don't smoke cigarettes. I hate cigarettes, but
I love candy. Okay, leave me alone.
I love candy. Who has questions? We haven't done any. Joseph is asking, just got Jobber, SteveO. Is there a code I can give them to give you credit? You do not need to give me credit. There's like a code, but I think if you tell them that I sent you or that You know me. I think I think you can get some percentage off though. So do go for that.
Tell them you saw it on the SteveO, the window cleaner live, and then they'll be like, "Whoa, there's a live."
Yes, exactly. If you are using Jobber, I would just love to hear if you do enjoy it or you don't enjoy it. That would be a great thing to know in the comments. Like, okay, I'm going to be really salesman here for a second though. And you tell me what you think too, as far as like a true conversation of CRMs.
Yeah.
I really do like Jobber because they are the one software that I've seen, and I've worked with Jobber since 2019. I took about a 2-year break. I'm with them again. But they are the one software. They constantly update things. They're constantly integrating things. They're the only software that I've ever used where I get constant emails, not constant, but monthly, of just things they are integrating into it. And that was always my big thing is people always ask me at the beginning, oh, why do you like Jobber? I didn't really know. I would say, it's a great, whatever. But now after seeing it for 5 years, seeing how many articles and blogs they put out there too for like the community and everything, they're pretty good, man.
Yeah.
They really, really are. And they've worked out a lot of the little hiccups, like with the app, with on your laptop or whatever. I mean, they really, really have. And I'm not trying to be a salesperson by saying this, but I really think that they're one of the best. The biggest con I ever hear is they're a little expensive. I mean, there's Mark8, there's Customer Factor. I think those are a little bit less, which are both great too. And they're both like very well known. The one I don't hear about much anymore is House Call Pro.
Yeah. I always say when people ask, like, it changes so fast. It's very hard to, I mean, think about like creating a video 6 years ago. And I talked about a CRM, like it would be the absolute different world. Like George, you remember George, that program? That would still be going on. It was like the most 8-bit program ever. It was great. It was only 4 window cleaners made by window cleaners, but the guy just did it and put it out there and never did anything. So it's like, some of the stuff changes so fast. You got to almost do demos. And that's where it's nice is every single company does demos. So it's like, okay, I'm going to sit down with somebody who literally knows everything about it and be like, here's what I'm looking for. Can it do this? Instead of watching a demo done by somebody else. And you're like, well, I don't cut lawns, so I don't need to know about like dog poop collection or whatever weird thing that Xero on. It's like, I want to know specifically for my industry. And there's some stuff that you just don't want to use or don't need.
Yeah, exactly. And I think they do something, this was a long time ago, but I think they do something still where when you sign up, you can either have like 30 minutes to an hour with one of their people, and they'll just go through it with you and just figure it out. So yeah, it is really good to have a CRM from the beginning too. Sorry to cut you off.
It's really easy as opposed to trying to like,
especially nowadays.
After. Yeah.
Yeah.
If you're here, by the way, comment what your CRM is that you use. And even if it's just Google or index cards, put it in there because I would like to, A, I want everybody to talk because it helps the live, but B, I want to see what everybody's doing because it still shocks me sometimes when people call and they're like, yeah, I'm using like a spiral notebook. I've got like 20 of them that I've gone through over the years. And it's like, man, how do you search a notebook? Like that's got to be incredibly hard.
I think the one thing I haven't liked though about apps when you go out is, dude, you have no signal. You will have no information. That is my only big thing about it that I ran into. And that was with anything across the board is that you're in an area, you got crappy signal and you need to pull up like, the person's information or the person's like pictures or something. You can't pull up a thing.
Do you have a lot of down areas like that by you?
I do. I really, really do. I don't know what it is with my area, but I'll go tomorrow morning. I got a home that I've done for years. I will go to this neighborhood. I cannot receive a text message. I can't receive a phone call until I get out of the neighborhood. So I'm like, just for 5 hours, I can't talk to anybody. I can't even do a text message out. And this is just the town south of me, a major, major town, been there, whatever. But like, it doesn't make any sense.
Yeah. So, yeah. See, but that's the difference. But that's the difference between you and somebody else. So when somebody's like, does this one work for me? It's like, you got to find out for yourself which one works for you. They're all really, really good. Quote IQ, by the way, that's Mike's stuff. I did that demo and I was incredibly impressed. Like that was like another service one that I hadn't even had my like eyes on or whatever. And just doing the demos, or like when you go to trade shows, they'll sit down and like show you stuff. Watching somebody who knows what the heck they're doing is really quite impressive as opposed to like, hey, try to figure it out yourself,
Yeah. Even Carlos here says he takes screenshots of the invoices on Jobber beforehand and tell them I'll send the receipt when I get signal. So these are people that know, like you're out there and you need this stuff to be there. Have you been a person? Okay. Nowadays, if I know your answer is going to be, if you could collect right away through a CRM, you're most likely going to do it, right?
I will 1000%. Even if I can't collect with somebody, I'm either going to have the card on file or I'm going to like snap a picture or do something and write it in my notes. Like I'm totally needing to collect every time. There's nothing worse in my head than like paying somebody to go do the work and then having to pay somebody to go chase the money down. It's like, just, collect it. Everybody's like, well, I don't want to like push. You've already done the work. Like, it's not offensive to say, hey, like commercial customers that don't pay you on time. They're like, well, I don't know how, I don't want to overbug them. What are you bugging them for? They're like a month behind. I call them every day. Hey, we talked yesterday. Did you get that card yet? No. All right. We'll call you tomorrow. Well, don't worry. I'll pull it up. No worries. It's not a worry for me. Call them the next day. I will 100% do that. The largest job that I've ever done, like regularly, I should say, not my largest job, decided one day when I showed up, and we would always go, we'd have a site approval by like the big wigs. It was a complex. We had to go through all the buildings. It was a whole thing. And when we're all done, we would leave there and go to the building with like the accounts payable, and we'd talk to them, and they would clear us and they'd write us a check. And then we just showed up one time. And they're like, oh yeah, we pay by credit card now. I'm like, oh my God, it's like thousands of dollars in fees. I'm like, okay. And they're like, yeah. I'm like, okay, well, I guess, I'll take the credit card. I'll work it in next time. And they're like, oh no, we're also 90-day pay now.
Oh no.
What? I mean, that was a job I had to sub in. I got like 6 guys from another company coming in and like had all that. I'm like, what? But guess what? That started coming up in every single day. I'm fine with that. I'm not bugging you because you're bugging me now. I have to spend money trying to chase my own money down.
Yeah, exactly. How many accounts did you think you ever had with 90-day net?
A handful. 90-day was really pretty rare. It seemed like it was getting to be more, but I mean, there were certain people that would say 90 days and I'd say no. No, we don't do that. Like, but that's what we do. Neat. I've done the service. You didn't tell, like, I mean, that one I didn't because I didn't want to like, sour that one. But like, there was a couple of them that I can remember that were just factories that were like, oh yeah, we changed it over to like, I think one was 60-day. I'm like, no, we're not going to wait 60 days for the payment. That doesn't make sense.
I only had one ever 90-day, and it was just a huge company. And I was stupid, and we got the quote, approved, started on the work, and then billed them. And they're like, yeah, be there to you in 90 days. And I was like, oh no.
I had some of the largest things too, like national service providers, right? Like NSPs that were in California, and I would get checks in like 2 weeks. I'm like, you're going to tell me that a company out in California can get a check to me in 2 weeks, but the company that's in my town, which I could see the accounts payable because your office isn't that big, it's going to take you 90 days to move my paper from the stack of papers to the top so you can pay it? I don't think so.
Now, how often have you had this happen? Customer doesn't pay you, but customer calls you a year later to get on the schedule. I've had that happen.
Never happened to me.
Yeah.
That's rough. Well, you know what it is? I'm really like, I had a big problem. I always talk about that. We're like, it's your own head that's, mental. But I had a big problem if for some reason something did sneak by, and I'm like, oh my gosh, this has been like 3 months. We didn't collect. Like, I can't collect now. Like, it was too far. It was my mistake, and they paid other. That was me messing up. I just eat it. That's happened a couple times, but
I had it happen with one. I went to, this is the last like couple of years. I went and did a job on a Sunday. And it was all scissor work inside, trying to remove old adhesive from glass up there with oil flow and a mask on, and did that for like straight 8 hours. And then all my other work at this job was always approved on a certain amount every single month. So when billing got this extra amount, and then about at the end of that year, and this was like in September, the end of that year, I stopped doing work for the people. I stopped going to that area. And that invoice is still unpaid by then. I had messaged and emailed them multiple times, but they kept paying their new invoices. So I kept knowing, I was like, oh,
they're letting this go under the rug.
Yeah, like I'm going to get screwed by this. And then when I finally stopped service to them, and then it was like 3 months out, I finally just told my bookkeeper, I was like, just make it go away. Like I can't do anything about it, but when you look at the grand scheme of it, it's like, it's not too bad. It was a very good customer for a long time. Oh, well.
Yeah. I had an office one time where we did the same thing. We had like X amount of windows. It wasn't the whole building, but we did it for like 3 years, every like 2 months. It was a lot. We did a lot. Dealt with the same property manager, super good, super fast, super pay. Just was like a great, easy, those customers are just super easy.
Yep.
And he came to me and we're talking about stuff because we want to get the whole building done now. We're not going to do that regularly, but we just got to get like, boom, get it really done one time. And well, it hadn't been done in a while. It hadn't been done by us and everything else. And don't think anybody else is doing it. And we just really had to dial it in. He's like, that's fine. We'll make it happen. Now, mind you, I had all this in emails back and forth, but we had also talked in person. We also talked in text and whatever. Get the job. It was pretty much a construction clean. I mean, we knew it was a great customer and we did it really, really well because we knew, crazy job. And we go at the end, we didn't get paid. Okay, guys, we've dealt with this guy forever, chased it down. And he's like, well, you're going to have to talk to this guy. This was kind of out of my hands to talk to this guy. And I get in this guy's office and he's the hands on my hips guy that's talking to me, talking down because I'm the help. And he's like, yeah, no, we're not paying anything from this. I'm like, man, we did such a good job. He was saying it was great. We got checked off at everything. And he goes, yeah, I didn't approve this to get done. I was like, well, why is this my problem? Like, I got approved. Who am I supposed to figure out? I got approved and everything was in emails. He goes, well, I don't know what to tell you, but this was an approved work and you did it. I'm like, but it was like, I didn't talk to you, but anyway, so everything was in, emails and stuff. And we had a lawyer on retainer, but it was more because it was like somebody we knew, like family kind of lawyer who wrote him a lawyer letter and, explained everything. And magically I got the check.
Man, that is insane. That's.
But this is why business owners, everybody always says it's so easy, but this is the hard stuff that no one ever has to deal with if you don't do this yourself,
Yep, exactly. I think I told the story before, but we had a lady that Jim knew that this lady was going to be an issue from like a job a long time ago that he had like back in like early 2000s. And we got this massive apartment construction clean, like 10 or 12 buildings. It was going to take us like each building we do one a month and just kind of work it into our days. And at the end, when we tried to collect for it, it's like 3 months later, nothing. Like 4 months later, nothing. Jim was awesome. I didn't do a thing with this. He tracked this lady down, tracked down the construction company, had him, the lady, and the construction company all go to the bank with the check that they wrote the lady. She had to write it, and then literally the bank pulled out the 10 grand from her account and gave Jim the check. Jim just bounced, walked out of there. It was like, see ya. But it's just, why would you have to go through that when another company subs you out to do that? And then exactly what you say, why do I have to chase these people down for money? It's insane. It's absolutely crazy. Or my biggest thing was always on a construction clean, you get it all done. And then the foreman says, oh, hey, that whole area that was done like 3 days ago, it's all dirty. You're going to need that cleaned again. Yeah, well, I'm going to charge you. No. I'm going to charge you I'm charging you the exact same thing that you got charged the other day. You're going to charge for it again. And I had a guy almost throw fists with me on a job due to that. I was like, no, that's not there's no way that I can pay my guys to come back. Yeah. Like the original quote was the quote. This is a new quote. It doesn't just and it's a bunch of people that I think sometimes you get these foremen who are managing a bunch of hourly people on hourly pay. They're not going to say no. They think you're the same kind for some odd reason. And it's like, no. You're not just going to take advantage of the situation. Like, I'm not one of your people that you're managing on the site.
What I did do one time when I had a property it was for snow removal. It was one of those, literally they owned 4 city blocks. Like, they had bought this area. It was literally, it was such a bad area. They changed the street name legally so that people didn't associate it with this bad area. Anyway, we did all the snow removal, weren't getting paid. Mind you, there's a small window.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I'm not going to do anymore. I'm owed thousands and thousands of dollars. And we had been doing it. We're supposed to get draws on snow because it's so often. And this lady kept going and going. So what I did was, and I can't remember if it was LinkedIn or one of those, but I went in and searched the company, property management company, and got all 6 of the people that were tops, VPs were their pictures, and they had their emails. I pulled all their emails, put them all in, and I put it on this one and just put it in there. And it's like, hey, I don't know what else to do. I'm not getting things. And I put screenshots of all the emails about just getting basically brushed up, whatever. And I'm like, I don't know what else to do. I assumed you were a legit company that would be paying this. And I, know that there's all this bad press that's happened and all this stuff. And I got a phone call within 20 minutes of that email from the secretary of the SEO or CEO or COO of the company or whatever, who was like, "Hey, I'm so sorry that this got somehow, missed by us, but we're gonna send you out a check right now. I'm sending it certified. You'll have it tomorrow morning with DHL." And I'm like, "Okay." Sure enough, DHL next day had a big yellow envelope with the check in it. I'm like, I don't know.
Isn't
Somebody
it?
got fired because of that. That's not my problem. This is like 2 months of me chasing this down and you just lying to my face.
Isn't it always amazing to you though that like where you have to go with these things is like the CEO or the top person always knows this problem has to go away. Like we're not going to waste legal money on this. And then it's all the people below that fight. Like, I don't want it to get to the top. I don't want the top knowing. And the top finally finds out, sure, you maybe some people in trouble, but they're like, make this go away. Send this.
Because it's
this
so
doesn't
stupid.
need to
I
happen.
did work for
Yeah.
you. Pay me. Like,
Yep.
what are we arguing? Like, it's not like, sometimes everybody gets bad customers. Sometimes you're like, you're absurd. Like, I know you're crazy right now thinking that what you're saying is, but I mean, when you're legitimately like, we did work that was contractually obligated. I did great work. You said it was great. I got emails saying how great it is. And then you just don't pay me. That's just somebody blocking it for no reason. Like at that point, it's,
It's so frustrating. We had a question here. We haven't had many questions tonight, but keep
they're just
them
listening
going.
to us vent. We're going to feel
Yeah,
so great after this
exactly. Massed formation psycho site, whatever. I'm not sure what your name is. I'm a car detailer and I want to ask you this. I clean my windows with a waffle weave microfiber towel and a 50-50 mix of 91% alcohol and distilled water. What do you guys use and why? Only thing I've done different with that is I just use 100% pure water, not distilled water, as far as mineral is. I don't feel like it's that great, to be quite honest with you. I mean, it helps, and sometimes I advise people using that in like an IPC Cleano or something like that.
Which is not great? The alcohol added or the pure water in there?
Oh, just the combo together. I don't find that it's like there's no miracle, I think, for windows and windshields for like that kind of stuff. But I mean, spray away and a microfiber. I know you're a fan of that. I probably just do that these days, to be quite honest.
Yeah.
But I mean, using that for car detailing, I guess my biggest question to you would be, do you ever get any complaints with doing that? Because I would like to know that, like, because we do get this question quite often. Someone says, I can't reach that window. What can I do to do it? And you simply say, okay, get one of these pad holders, get a microfiber pad, basically remove the dust, remove the haze. And that's like as best as you're going to do. But then you put up a solution up there that has any sort of suds or any sort of that, and it gets cloudy.
Yeah.
So what do you do?
Well, and that's the same thing when you're detailing car windows. You're always nose to glass, where you're not on anything else. I do like spray foam. That spray way is just so easy. I buy a can for $4-5 and it's already mixed. I don't have to mix anything. With the alcohol pure water, the idea is that like anything, the alcohol evaporates, so you have less water to actually go because it's evaporating, but yet you have to have enough water for that to stick to the towel. And yeah.
Could you imagine being a car detailer? With the things that we have happen in window cleaning, with how anal customers can be, cleaning a car and having a customer be like, oh, there's this, you would have so much stuff to explain. I couldn't do it.
I don't know that I could. Well, it's like anything, pressure washing, really nasty stuff. You're like, well, like guys that mow lawns, but I've seen some cars come in. I used to do repossessions back in the day, which obviously they're gross. We get stuff in and I'm like, it is unfathomable that somebody you drive this car multiple times a day and it looks like this. I have stains on like my pants from just sitting in your car. It's disgusting.
Oh, it's so gross. I love seeing those satisfying videos though, where someone like takes out all the seats. They use like this, I'm going to call it a vibrator. And they put it on the floor and it just like, oh man, I should have done this.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, we're talking vibrators here. What's your comment?
Do you guys know what I'm talking about though?
Yeah, the magic
it's like
wand.
This. Is it a magic wand? Is that what you do? Come on, help me out here, man.
Yes, I know what you're talking about. It's actually a muscle massaging gun. I have one literally on the back side of the camera.
And then, oh wow, so good, multi-use. Yeah. So yeah, then they clean all the dirt. The story's been ruined by vibration.
Great. I just love how red your face gets whenever you say accidental words or things where you didn't think about it.
Do you
Like,
know? Do you know that I still get messages once a week about that one night where I said where the person's name was Nick and then a bad name after? Yeah.
and I tried to real calmly and collectly be like, you may not want to say that name again. You're like, which one? But now everybody, have you ever seen that game where you put like the things in your mouth and then you have to say like the phrase, random words, but when you say it, it actually sounds like it. It was one of those. Yeah.
That'd be a fun game to play on here. I'd probably get shut down. Oh, we got questions. Amid asks, I'm in Ottawa and I have knocked like 30 doors, but no one accept my offer. But I was on a decent close. I think I was on a decent close. Do you think I must buy a company t-shirt or what can I improve?
I think the first thing you could improve is not door knocking.
And then,
know what, the clothes do make it like, right? Like if you look clean, then they assume you can clean. Like if you show up in a dumpster of a truck wearing dirty stained clothes, they don't think you're going to clean anything because you can't be clean yourself. So I do think that you're spot on with just having nice, clean clothes. But door knocking is it gets you a thing now. It just doesn't build a business, right? So again, it's Canada. It's not warm enough for people to be thinking windows. You go do this in the middle of spring, hardcore, and you'll probably get more people, but it's very tough. Door to door sucks because nobody wants to see you.
Have you noticed that content is pretty dead? Very dead. You'll tell us. I think 1 year from now, this will not be as big of a topic as it has been the last 2 years.
Yeah. It was
100% believe it. Yep.
It was a fad that was over exaggerated with like I knock doors and I can get, I just made $37,000 today. And then everybody's like, what? And then everybody wants to do it. And then they like him. He's probably done amazing. He's probably out there just to hustle. I love seeing young people hustle because there's so many young people that just like sit around doing nothing. So the hustle is amazing. But then you go, man, I knocked 30 doors. I should be a millionaire already. Like, what the heck's happening? And it's like, well, somebody made TikTok content and you just took it as realistic instead of content. So unfortunately,
but if you are picking that to be your way of getting work, yes, it probably would be best to, put on, at least get a shirt with like the company name on it, the number on the back, and just like, window cleaning, if you're offering maybe pressure washing or something else, and just put that on there just so people do have, like, when you go into any type of store and then there's somebody without the company shirt on, you're never going to ask them a question.
Yeah.
That's a really bad example, but it's just, try to look professional in some way. A shirt is going to help. A shirt is very easy to get made online. Why not get it done?
And don't let me, some old guy online, crap on your dreams, but your hustle's there regardless. Like the hustle's the part that you cannot give to anybody. You can't teach that to anybody. Somebody can fake hustle for a minute, but somebody that does it all the time has it embedded in them. So
Jacob, I knock on doors and get rejected, so I poop on people's lawn.
With Jacob, I could see that maybe happening. Like I could see him.
I just can't wait.
Maybe not everybody. That's an exaggeration, but I could see it. I bet you it's maybe happened once or twice. There might be a dirty bush in his past.
Window Cleaners of Brandon asked a really good question. It's simple, but it's super, super good. Window tracks, clean enough to eat off or just good enough? Really, really good question.
Yeah.
I think just good enough. I think we had Alex and Duga on here last week, and man, he does an amazing service. Steamer, I mean, just like to the nine. I personally could never do that. My mind would just go insane. So I think that when you agitate with a track brush, you get all that picked up with a vacuum and you go with a wet microfiber. I think that's really, really good. I've never had any complaints. I just feel like they get dirty so fast that I don't know. I couldn't stomach spending more than like a minute on a track. I couldn't stomach it.
It's also, I don't think anything in window cleaning has to be good enough to eat off of. I think good enough is literally good enough. Because like, I mean, this is probably the number one thing. People don't hate on me too terribly often. Jacob does, but not normal people. But it's that I feel like you can have enough is enough. Like, yes, do good work, because if you do something and they see a streak or a smear, you didn't do good enough. So don't tell me like, oh, you're telling them I could do bad work. I'm not at all. But you don't have to be 1,000%. If it's good enough to like look good, it's good enough. Like you're the one looking at it under a microscope. They're not.
Yeah. Yes. So yeah, that's very, very good. I have to go to this question again. Tyler Berry, this wasn't a question, but a statement.
I love his movies, right?
Yep, exactly. Great movies. Really like polos for business shirts. Feel like they stand out, tucked in with nice, clean shoes. I hate polos. Do you like polos?
I am going to sound so awful.
You love polos.
It's not meaning to sound like this, but I was the only one in my company who could wear polos, me and the sales guy. Not because like there's something weird about it, but it just for us was like differentiating, right? Those guys kind of had their outfits, the uniforms, and we had our uniforms, but our guys did not wear polos. I liked polos because I just assumed that if I was on a job site, like bidding something, it just made me push. I felt different doing the work. I don't necessarily ever remember wearing a polo for that.
I do 100% agree that it does look more professional. I 1,000% agree with that. I wouldn't do it. And that's just my personal thing. And I was like that from the beginning of starting any job that ever told me you have to wear a polo. I was like, no, I never arrived once at a job with a polo on.
You're like that. I'm cool because I'm chill kind of guy.
No,
that's your vibe. You
it's
can't
not
wear
that.
collars.
It's just so uncomfortable. I get overheated. It's so
colors hold you down,
so
man.
Annoying.
And to be honest, back when like you started doing this, when you were working out, your neck was like, bam, you probably couldn't wear polo.
Yes. I pop the shirts. I flex. The pop is crazy.
Hands are tied then at that point. You're just too big.
But yeah, it's probably a better thing to do, honestly.
I think there's so much that you say without saying anything though, too, in business, right? Like I'm a huge fan of like having marketing material that blows people away. Just I want it to be like when I hand it to somebody, they just have to be like impressed. There's like so many of those like wraps on a car versus like car magnets, and wearing a polo that is your shirt versus so many people wear WCR stuff because there's a squeegee on it, but yet it's not like their own thing. So I just feel like you could say something without saying something.
Yeah. I hear you. Jeremy said he's openly apologized to you. Jacob has openly apologized to you. So that was a good smirk.
I know.
Victor Garul, welcome. How are you? Does anyone remove hard water just to make the window look good without charging the customer? Does this happen? I do. I have. It's not very extreme, but I've always said that like on residential, if there's just one or two windows like in the basement that have hard water, I would typically remove them, and I usually won't even say anything. I just, it's done. And it's mostly to make my job easier when I go back. I have a job that I do. I just did it a couple weeks ago. And that was the thing. In the first couple of years I did it, he had next to him just an open lot, and they had sprinklers that just pushed irrigation water all over the glass. Now they don't do that anymore. And they're perfectly good. But if I didn't do that, they were going to get stained and stained and stained. So, yeah.
I don't know. Like, I get it. Yeah, I've done it if it's been really, really mild. Remember when bronze wool was out? That was like just like steel wool. We just always carried it. And that could take some stuff off just like steel wool can if it's super, super light. But like nobody goes, oh, I need a new transmission, and then you also fix the dent. It's like, yes, I understand why people do it, and you can do however you want, but I'm kind of with you on that. It's like there is a service, and then there's like a service. It's the same. If I got to pull a scraper out and do a couple windows because I want them to look like that, fine. But if I'm going up to your job and the last guy who painted your house couldn't be bothered to tape a window, I'm not going to do that for free just because that's, I'll do it. Absolutely. Yeah. But understand I'm getting paid for my time.
Yeah. Totally agree. It's just sometimes too, you probably agree with me on this. Sometimes too, though, the reason why I don't mention it, that like I did it, is I don't want the customer to be like, oh, he's like easy. Like I could probably ask for other things in the future, and he'll probably just take me up on it for free.
That's like small business jaded right there.
Yeah.
How many times it's like us, we have a 10% off sale right now, and people are like, oh, cool, give me 15. No, it's 10%. Like you give somebody an inch, they take a mile. It's kind of that concept. But that's exactly it though too, because how many times have people literally been taking advantage of you? Like, oh, you guys got ladders on the truck. Can you come in here and replace this light fixture?
Oh,
Like,
yeah.
if we have the time, we can. It's going to be like, oh, I was hoping you'd do it for free. No,
Yep.
I'm replacing. This is going to take me time. Of course, I'm not doing it for free. It's like that
We got screamed out of a job, and I think I've shared this before, but we got screamed out of a job because we wouldn't put blinds up at a home. And it was like, this is not even what we do. Like, why is this? We're here to clean your windows. You don't want us to put a blind up, so the job's off because so the windows weren't really that important. Your blinds were important. So call a blind installer and do that.
Yeah. I'm so, and if it's a little old lady, because people are always like, oh, you're cold hearted. If you want to do it because you want to do it, absolutely. Like, I've done jobs for free. It gets a whole job, and the lady's like, well, don't cash to this check. And I say, absolutely. You know what? I'm just happy that we could spend the time and talk, and you're lovely. And I've not done, like, you can do that for free, but it's the time when you feel like you have to, then it's not being nice anymore.
Yeah.
And then it becomes like part of the thing.
Right. Hey, what's this question from Kana?
By the way, to interrupt you real quick, you guys' questions are absolutely amazing. If you're watching now, make sure to give Steve a heart or a thumbs up or any of the emojis to make this thing go off. He's a struggling YouTuber just trying to get some support and views. So all the commenting is blowing up the views, all the hearts and everything else. You guys are doing amazing. Thank you for the comments. And if you have any questions or comments, please do put it on there. It's great.
Yes. Connor asked, any books you guys recommend? Any books that chat would recommend? What books do you recommend?
And it depends. I'm a really focused book person. So it's like, if I need to like nerd on a thing, then I'll do that. Like, if you want, okay, I'm improving on my closing techniques for my door-to-door. I'm going to focus on that piece and get something very specific to that. I'm not a general book type person because my ADD doesn't like that. But I've had some really, really good books that don't even make sense that have been really amazing.
I just read books about being kind. That's it.
Do you?
Yeah. I do. A little bit. Just I need it in this line of work of how to be kinder. I guess
you should send them my way and they should be reading. Yeah,
it happens.
By the way, if you're into sales and closing and stuff, there's one called Sell It Like Sirhan. Really, really good. I've done that one 1,000 times. Another one is also The Closer's Guide, I believe, by Grant Cardone, which Grant Cardone's very rough around the edges, but it explains objections and why people say the objections, because sometimes people go to you and they're like, oh, wow, yeah, it's pretty expensive. And your brain instinct is like, oh, no, they don't want it. Oh, sorry. Yeah. And then you go on to the next house where it kind of explains, like, they're just explaining something, and you go, yeah, absolutely. It is like, it just understanding, kind of changing that part. And I really like that.
What do you think? Totally random question. I don't even know how to word this. In sales, what's the one most important thing you've learned with sales? It could be anything. Like, it doesn't have to be pinpointed on something, but to make a sale. Yeah. What would be the number one thing?
1,000% listening.
Yeah.
Somebody will tell you everything you need. And I know this from my own staff, but like, people will go somewhere and they'll show up and they'll, in their head, they already know what they are, what they do, and and the people are like, yeah, yeah, we had a guy. I don't think he's been here for a while. What's his name? Tom. Yeah. I forget the guy's name. He's done it forever. We've had him. He's super cheap. He's like $20, it doesn't really matter. Like, the whole thing, they told you everything. You go, well, hey, you know what? We're new. We'd love to get your business. We don't stop until you're happy. Like, not once did they say they weren't happy or they're looking for somebody to make happy. The first thing they said was, yeah, we have Tom. I don't even know when the last time he was here. Right? They didn't say that because they literally thought it, or didn't literally just think it. Right? They told you that it was cheap, but it doesn't really matter. Like, they told you everything you need. You just have to listen to it. So then you sell to them the way that they explain things. It's like, if you were Spanish only speaking, I'm not going to talk in German because you're not going to understand it. I have to hear what you're saying in order to respond. And that's where I think a lot of people go wrong with, especially the door knocker guys. When you watch their videos, literally, you're like, you're not listening. Like, the guy literally like, no, my nephew's come. Well, let me walk around and give you a price. No one talked about price. What are you talking about? Like, explain. Well, if somebody says, hey, I have my nephew coming and doing it, don't tell them, oh, I can get you a better price. That's not what they're talking about. Then you go, you know what? Your nephew's probably getting busier with his life and his own family. And I know you feel it's an inconvenience to let us give you at least a price so you can kind of tell something to maybe pull it off. And I know he's doing you a favor and he can still clean them for you anytime he's like it. But this way you feel like you're not holding them to that. You're not forcing, like, hear what they're saying and then respond. Don't go into any conversation ever knowing what you're going to say before you say it, because it's not a conversation, then it's just an ad.
Yeah. I have a really weird one. I don't think you'll agree with this one. I am not the type of salesman that I think rushing somebody is a horrible thing to do.
Yes. That's pushy salesman.
Yeah.
That's a pushy. They're not ready.
And it might sound very, very common to like not want to be pushy, but I think it's one of the hardest things. Like, I will not go through closing until I know that I've answered every question that person had. And I think that's exactly kind of what you're pinpointing towards, is that like listening and being able to answer the questions that they have and give them the answer to what it was, but also kind of listen to their worries, but not push it too quick, has always been my main thing of just like, if I don't feel they're ready, I do not want buyer's remorse. Buyer's remorse is always the crappiest conversation to have 2 to 3 days after any sort of sale. Or even if, let's say you're selling a window job and they wanted to do inside out, they decided on that and they call you and they're like, I don't know, it doesn't happen much with that. But that's just my thing of like, I never want to rush. It's hardest thing to do on people and then just make them feel like shit later on, I guess.
If you're pushing the sale, hey, that's a pushy salesman. That's why people hate salesmen, which everyone that's watching and listening is a salesman. They have to sell their services. But the thing is that once you get to the point of the close, if you will, they know it. They'll close themselves. Like if you say, hey, I'm looking to get into Waterfed, and here's what I got. I got 2-story houses, the most. It's just me. You know, I want something that is reliable, and I don't want to go crazy with this. I don't need, you go through everything, and I explained to you that right now with the sale, the ultimate package. I love that package. Everything that's in it's good. The gear is amazing. Xero is my favorite brand. All that stuff. If I tell you all of that, and I've answered all of your questions, they say this. What do they say? You've answered everything. You haven't even closed. They go, yeah, let's do that. That's because they're done. I got no other questions. If somebody says to you, well, yeah, I don't know. Let me think. Okay. Realistically, you have to find a way to say this. But the same thing is if you talk to somebody who came to you and said, hey, I want window cleaning. You gave them all the answers and they still go, well, yeah, let me talk it over with the what. Okay, so I did something wrong and I didn't answer all of your questions, because if you're going to have to ask somebody else, what are you going to ask them? If you go to them and go, hey, this is absolutely the best thing we should be doing, I understand everything, and this is the reason, then you wouldn't have to go to somebody. So I messed up in not explaining something. And instead of seeing like I'm pushing the close, where are the questions at still?
Now, do you ever view that, though, as like, sometimes when I think of, okay, did I do something wrong here? But then you look back and you go through the questions and you're like, I answered everything to the knowledge that I have, but they decide to go somewhere else.
Yeah.
I know many people that no matter what, they will get 20 opinions, no matter if they got the correct answer. And I think that's like one of the most frustrating things is like, it happens with you and I a lot of that. We will get the same exact questions almost up down to like the same second or minute. Yeah. And they're just going back and forth, asking us questions.
They have to be so solidified in their answers. They're so, and that's, if you are selling somebody your window cleaning, right? And you tell them you're SteveO the window cleaner, you do amazing work. You tell them every one of your USPs and they still go to somebody else. Their toy was shinier, but how was it? It could have been that they had a better spiel. They explained their value better, or they were in the mindset of a happier time, a better close. I mean, how many times have you talked to somebody, you're like, they're just not wanting to do this right now. Like if somebody says that, like in window cleaning sales, and they're like, hey, let me talk to my partner. Let me talk to my wife. Hey, absolutely. If you have any other questions, let me know, because that's their defense with a lot of people who are just like, I'm not going to say yes right now because that's just my thing. I assume if I say yes after talking to you that you pressured me into it, and they're going to have to go ask 20 other people. And I'm totally cool with that, but I'm just going to stay with them. It's the same thing in window cleaning sales. If you go talk to, a burger joint and you want to try to close them, they're like, well, let me talk to I absolutely talk to your manager. I absolutely, if you've got questions, let me know. I'm going to call you tomorrow and follow up, because it's the follow-up that always gets those people. If you're not following up, they needed the time and they just needed to just say, hey, No, you know what? I'm going to pass right now, or let me talk it over. Let me think. Do you have a card? Give me your. That's just them shutting it down. I'm uncomfortable right now. I don't want to get pushed into something. I'm stronger than you. Let them be strong. Just make sure to stay with them, because guess what? After they're done and you talk to them the next day, they go, "Oh, you're a real company. You remember me." Now it's in a whole other playing field. You're not being pushed. It took me 24 hours. I'm not even calling you right now. I'm not even. I know I'm the best option for you, so that's why I'm staying with you. But I'm not pushing you into this. When you're ready, and I'll be here.
Yeah. Yep. That was good. That's a good rundown. We have on point here, really wanting to ask a question of water-fed versus squeegee when the glass is hot in the summer. Man, I'll pick water-fed pole all the time. Even like I'll have like a ranch job that I'll always usually the rest of the year step ladder it. And I'm like, nope, like I don't want to get a step ladder. I pull out the trad pole, water-fed the whole thing. Really depends. But I mean, during the summer, I love, and this is something I talk about a lot in my videos, is letting like frames kind of drip or kind of bleed a little bit. You can, that really in the summer, you can pretty much forget that, because things are drying so fast that you hit those frames, and while you're scrubbing the glass, those are drip drying by the time that you're done and you rinse the whole thing down. Summer water fed is the best. Sucks because you're sweating like no other, but it is.
You accidentally spray yourself a couple times. Yeah.
Yep, exactly. Just have a shower. It's great.
Well, then it doesn't matter. Like, it could be cloudy, it could be sunny, it could be slightly raining. It just doesn't matter with water fed. You're not worried about that piece of it.
But I think maybe what he's worried about is like he also mentioned 110 degrees out, like, and that or these are people that always ask questions about solar panels when they're hot. The amount of times I've had steaming solar panels while cleaning them, it's fine. Like those things endure so much heat.
The fluctuation has got to be very drastic for that. And you got to think you're saying then it's never rain. Because if that happened, every time you got one of those freak, summer rains when it's like 98 degrees out and all of a sudden the rain kicks in, that means that everybody's windows in the entire city would shatter all at one time if that was the thing.
Yeah.
Just not.
Pencil jets versus rinse bar. KT finally got his first rinse bar. I freaking love rinse bars for residential. I love pencil jets for commercial. I even on all my brushes, because I'm only doing residential, I just cut the hoses to my pencil jets.
Dang.
I don't even have them.
Your rinse bar 100%.
Oh yeah, I love rinse bar, man. It is it's the best thing. But some people absolutely hate it. In
your defense, you're also running a max, like high flow systems, which really helps.
I'm running max, and what anybody should do if they want more flow is you should really get a high flow hose. I think KD has always been talking about a high flow hose on here a lot, and it is true to fact. If you want more flow, it just right now it's hard because with our water fed pools, it's not something that comes standard with them. It's an add-on. But I mean, I have a guy that has a company and he runs a max system, and he has two 100-foot sections of high flow hose. He runs 2 poles on every single job, has not had an issue with pressure for the last like 3 months, ever, not once, which is slightly unheard of. Like typically by that point you would have some sort of low pressure source or something like that kind of go wrong. But I mean, he runs that. If anything, that I'd love to set people up on that all the time. But if you want an increase in flow to your brush, get some high flow hose. It's great.
You know what Xero should do? Thinking about high flow, Xero should come out with a powered system.
Yes, we should.
A powered system called Xero Power. Just riffing, just throwing it out there. They should come up with a system like that is compact, runs on like a max frame with an integrated pump, switch system, and puts out, I don't know, close to 3 gallons a minute. They should come up with something like that.
Yeah. And KD, you're right. There is no comparison. I mean, this was like my telling point of high flow hose was I was at my parents' home. This was like last summer when I first got the high flow hose, and I use a DI tank at their house because their pressure is so bad. I cannot get good pressure. And even with regular, 5/16, 3/16 inner diameter hose, pressure was just horrible. I put the high flow hose on. It was just a complete difference. And that's when it won me over. And I've had like multiple window cleaners use my setup, and they're like, this is crazy. Like, yeah, it's the best improvement I think in a long, long time.
I'm a water hog though too. I always would rather have more water than less water, even if it's not PSI and splashing all over, just to have more water. in my head feels better.
Well, you know what's funny is Perry tries to talk about in his videos, Perry Taint, about like that you only want this tiny little arc. Like he always talks about this like little arc from the very beginning, like decade ago of like making videos. It's like, yeah, that's great. And like in pencil jets, you don't want like too much splatter, you know, like that.
Yeah.
But like when you have a rinse bar just cascading perfectly, a little bit of bounce back, you can just move so quick, especially in these new modern type of homes with casements and like you can fly through those homes. The frames are perfect for them. Those are my favorite types of houses to do.
There's a difference though too when you have two jets and you have, you know, everything going like you can have a little arc, but you got a whole rinse bar and it's just like a wave of water. So
yeah. Let's see here. Mike Estrada Jr. I have a 100-gallon water tank and I hook up to my Waterfed pole to this and do jobs. I would just get the 110-volt booster and do it that way. I wouldn't do it the 12-volt. There is many people that do it the 12-volt. Yeah.
Speaking of, I just real quick, I got to say that my secret hint that I put out there, I'm thinking that, you know, people who are here subscribe to SteveO, the window cleaners channel, will get these little tidbits of secret information. I'm surprised no one caught the information.
What did you say? Just nothing? Not gonna...
Talking powered systems is all.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Well,
I mean,
you know,
nobody's
we pay attention to that. Not everybody, you know.
We drop hints, you know.
Coming soon. How much frame scrubbing you gonna do, man? I don't do much. I think sometimes when I talk about water-fed pole technique, people say, "Oh man, it's like a really slow technique to like clean the frames." It is super quick. It is like a once over just to get stuff loose and to get stuff rinsed off.
Yeah.
And then you're really attacking the glass. When you do your final rinse, you're still going to hit frames, but you can just make sure you see like everything coming down, especially if it's oxidation or something like that. But man, residential, just always try to use a rinse bar. That's key.
It is like
so key.
3 up and downs on the left, 3 side to sides on the top, and 3 on the right, and you got a frame clean. Like, unless they're oxidized gross that you're really working on it, it's so quick. And that's why you don't get spots. There's people who are still water fed that I always avoid the frames. I don't know why I got spotting. That because you avoided the frames, man.
Yeah, exactly. Hallman doesn't clean frames. Frame scrubbing is for house washes. Oh, well, no one has ever said to me, "You forgot my frames." Well, I would say this, in that to me, though, for home residential window cleaning, it's not about actually cleaning the frames. It's about how many times that I see window cleaners mess that little step up. And then they call back and they say, "I have spots, I have this, I have that." And then they freaking do it the right way. And boom, you never hear about an issue again.
Yeah.
Now there's people that do have issues. There's a guy on like YouTube who, you know, it's really funny. We're going on a little bit over time here, but, you know, you put stuff out there to like help people, but then all of a sudden your word is like, if it doesn't go right to like what you said, you're an a-hole, like in some sort of way. It's like, oh, so I put this information out there as just my way. Never, ever did I say you have to do it whatsoever. But this is the way I do it. It's the way I found that really works. But now my word is all of a sudden has hindered your ability to do the job. Now you don't like me. And I get that quite a bit. And now I'm starting to see it in more videos of people talking about it, thinking that like, I won't see this. And then I comment and it's like, "Oh, I didn't know you were here. I didn't know."
I was just saying, like,
I'm not defensive about it, but it does slightly piss me off when it's like, "Hey man, I figured it out. I'm so sorry that you can't figure it out in the field and you cannot figure out how to use this. Then go use like whatever other tool you need to do." That's not on me, man.
There's
like
no
I've been the
absolute truth in any of it. It's just it's opinions.
Exactly.
What do you like?
Yeah.
Why do you think there's 27 different types of rubber?
Right. Exactly. It's different for everybody. Anyways, I didn't mean to go off there, but
and I did hear just Jacob. He was the only one that did comment on that, but I was trying to, you know, go over that.
It's just Jacob's getting one, right?
I heard.
Huh?
I heard.
Well, anyways, we are here at an hour, and well, we sign off at an hour, so we'll see you guys later.
That's it.
That'd be like the best outro that I've done so far.
I was just gonna say that was an old school outro right there.
I hope everybody's spring is going great. I'm sure everything is in full swing. I felt like April 1st was always full swing for everybody, but I know that even some in colder states even got snow. We got snow last week or this weekend. even. But I mean, yeah, by noon it's melted. So I hope everybody's in the big swing of things. And if you guys ever need anything from us, like we always mention on here, we are reps for Window Cleaning Resource. We do love to help you guys. If you need equipment ordered, that is how we make our dollars. So
literally
very, very much appreciated. Yes. So good, sir. Do you have anything to share, sir? Do you have a copy of the new?
I literally was going to bring it back, but I was busy today and I didn't throw it in my bag, and I know.
Next time you got to bring it, or else I'll have one. Maybe I got one. I don't know.
The new issue. So here's the thing real quick. The American Window Cleaner magazine totally revamped everything. We got a new layout guy, and it is mind-blowingly amazing. The new layout is like, literally, I was giddy when the first iterations of the one came out, and that is the new one now. So if you don't yet have a subscription, what the hey, man? Go to awcmag.com, get the subscription for that. And also remember that SteveO's channel here is trying to grow to help more window cleaners and just be seen more. So please do subscribe. It literally takes a second to just click subscribe right now. We'll wait. Okay, so if you're subscribed, that's awesome. Also, heart, thumbs, all those things to SteveO. This is what he does, and this is his channel, so please do that. Remember, too, that we are reps, like he said, for windowcleaner.com, and Steve makes money when he puts orders in, so please do let him do that. And it's no bother. Big or little, every order counts.
Yes.
He needs to support his love handles somehow, and you could be the help that provides him a gas station stop of snacks.
My belt supports it just enough. You know, it's a great life. I'm sure. I hope they'll be shrunken by the convention. So we'll see. We'll see what happens. But anyways, you all have a wonderful week. We will see you guys at beginning of Mayish. Peace.
Bye.